just was on the phone a couple nights ago with a guy that contacted me and bought my used outboard motor buying guide. And what he did was he said, "Listen, I just bought this boat. It's got 2 Evinrude fix on it. I just got a deal on it because nobody wants the boat because of the motors."
Yep.
So
I
he's like,
heard that
"Should
story before, I
I?"
heard that.
So
Yep.
he says, "Should I run it?" And I said, what do you have to lose?" I said, "But do the thermostats, go through the cooling system, all those tubes get plugged up if it sat for a period of
Mm-hmm.
time. You know, your EEM, make sure those tubes, take a little, I take a little squeeze ball with water and squeeze it through, make sure it's flushed properly, and do all those little things, and you'll probably run fine for many years. Why not use it until it dies? You can always slap new motors."
Hey there, sorry to take you away from the video, but real quick, did you know that on average a boat owner will spend between $1,000 and $5,000 a year just on servicing their engine? And you could actually pocket and save a lot of that money if you would just do the service yourself. It might seem like a daunting task, but I guarantee you virtually everyone can do it with our guidance and the Boaters program. This is just one skill that you could learn inside the program because we have hundreds of other videos teaching you all kinds of boating skills, as well as a weekly live stream where we have questions and answers with me, as well as a chat feature where you can send videos and pictures, ask all kinds of questions, or look for some advice or some guidance on a project that you're doing on your boat. You can join the program by hitting the first link in the description, clicking join, or visiting bornagainboating.com. Now back to the video. Yeah. If you can keep it running, it's kind of like you got to come up with a budget that you're like, okay, pricing out a used engine, I can replace these with something used for $6,000. Okay.
Right.
So if $6,000 is your number, you kind of look at what are the repairs you got to do. And if you got to spend more than say 4, you're almost at the point you need to just, don't put that 4 into those because, you're throwing good money at bad, but
Yeah, it's time
we
to move
used
on.
we used to do this on Optimaxes that you'd run in lakes and stuff. There was a screen for the cooling in
Yep.
them that you'd have to pull that screen out and always get clogged with grass and stuff. But some people, we would add filters to the hoses going there they could pull the cowling, pull that filter out, shake all the
Interesting.
grass out, put it back in. So on a FICT, I'm thinking, because I'm thinking of a way to make it, say someone like you said has these engines, something you could do to make it last longer, like putting a screen in before your EMM to catch any grass so it doesn't clog up and overheat your computer.
Yeah, so when you get creative with things like that, you can really make these engines run a long time. So the other brand I would think of was the two-stroke Suzukis. They were good running motors when they ran well, but getting parts for them is getting more and more difficult. So, and when you buy them, you are paying an arm and a leg for those parts because they know it.
Yeah, there's only
So
10 left in the world, so you got
and I'll have guys send me pictures and, okay, what do you think of this motor? They've got the head off and I don't know why I'm getting water in the cylinder, and you see that aluminum around the outside of the sleeve is so badly pitted, and you just say, hey, guy, come on. When it's that far gone, you don't need to be investing any more in this.
Yeah, it's time to pull the plug on that one. I'm
And you can do
surprised you
JB
didn't.
Weld, you can do a JB Weld and maybe get through a season, but eventually it's going to pop off and end up in your cooling jackets. And how do I know that? And
Hand up accountability there.
That's what
That was me.
happens.
JB Weld's actually pretty amazing stuff. I mean, it depends on what you're working with, but like for like cooling and stuff like that. I mean, when you think about it in your cooling systems, a lot of people kind of dog on JB Weld, but it has some really good uses, and especially on cooling systems where your water pressure is like 25 psi at wide open throttle with a brand new impeller, but like normally it's 10, 12, 15, 20 psi. So it's like there's not a lot of pressure there, and that as long as you clean the surface right, you can do it. But when you got walls pitting away, that's like you gone too far. Like
if the head gasket metal ring is only sealing against the cast sleeve, there's not much room for error there. And just like anything else, Aaron, is when did they read the instructions on the JB Weld before they use it? What temperature did they mix it at? Did they clean the surface? And what I like to do is same thing the dentist does. If I'm filling a hole, I want to make sure that I'm not just putting it on the surface. I'm going through that hole to the other side so that
Mm-hmm.
even if it breaks loose, it's not going to pop off and end up someplace I don't want it to be. You know.
Right, right. Yeah, that's it. I'm surprised something that you didn't say force. You have to deal with a lot of forces up there.
There's not too many left, my friend. Uh,
That's probably for the best.
yeah, Force and Chrysler, it's interesting. So when I was, wow, so this is going back maybe 30 years. I had another machine shop guy where I used to live that I trusted, and he gave an outboard class, and he said, look, I'll teach you how to do this machining at home. And all the motors we worked on were Force and Chrysler and the Tower Power
Mm.
Mercuries and all that stuff, and all the wiring would on the Mercuries would the insulation would fall off of it, and we'd re-sleeve it and heat shrink it and get, you just, when you're young, you have no money, I can get out on the water, you do what you can do, but you pay
Hmm.
the price yourself. It's not like you're doing it for a customer who has to
Right,
trust that this is going to keep him safe out on the water. So
right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a lot of experiences. I've got a handful of Tower Powers and Force Chrysler experience. And the handful that I have, yeah, my vote is the most unreliable right there. That's, way more than the FICT or the HPDIs or any of that. Those are hands down. And,
so
and
the
I have limited
Force
experiences.
So the Force, for the smaller boats, like the 16-foot, the 15-foot boats, those 100-horse Force, the 100-horse Chryslers, the 85s that were, 3 cylinders with one carburetor on them. Those were really very basic, simple, but they didn't have a lot of power, but they
Hmm.
ran well. The challenge is you can't really get parts for them anymore.
So let's say someone's got one of these. Let's say they've got a FIC, got an HPDI. They got. I'm not going to say a Force, because if you do have a Force, then I feel I'm sorry for you. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be you out there that has the Force that are like, hey, that thing's been running great for 40 years. Like,
Yeah.
I get you. I'm not dogging on you, but if someone has one of these engines that what are some things that they can do outside of trying to keep the cooling clean and stuff that they can keep them running longer, or just keep them running?
So if it's a two-stroke, if we can eliminate whatever oil injection system was there, I'm a big fan of. I've always liked the Yamaha's oil injection system, but the Evinrudes, when they were trying to use a vacuum-style pump to pull the oil up from the tank in the boat, it's better just to mix if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the old OX66s and some of the Mercs that were throttle body style injection. I can add a little bit of oil to my fuel. Sure, it'll smoke a little bit, and I'll foul plugs, and maybe I'll run ring clean or something like a cart decarbonizer through there every once in a while. But I
Mm-hmm.
have less of a problem when I have a failure from my oil injection system. So things like that, making sure that your water pump is working properly and you have full water flow, all the basic maintenance items that you need to do are what's going to give you longevity with any motor that's out there. But you reach that point, like you're saying, where when you have a major failure, let's say a lower unit goes bad and it's an old Force,
Mm-hmm.
timeout. Now maybe you can find someone selling a motor, and maybe the lower unit's good. You pick it up for $100, but what are you going to do? Put seals in it and do $500 worth of work to it for that
Mm-hmm.
motor? It's they're at that point where it's time to make the decision to move on.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Now, if you're so let's say you're looking for a used outboard, right? What are some things that are like immediate red flags for you that someone's selling, they've got an engine for sale, it's on marketplace. What's something, what a couple things that you would read and be like, whoa, hold on. Like, that doesn't sound right to me, that someone could avoid so they don't buy a basket full of problems. So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, you can see another one over here or watch the full episode over here.